Listen, every single one of us has two minds inside, one that pushes us forward and one that keeps us small. The weak mind whispers excuses, fears, doubts, and comfort. The strong mind demands growth, responsibility, and action. But here's the truth no one wants to hear. A weak mindset isn't permanent. It's a habit, and habits can be broken. Step 1. Awareness is the first breakthrough. Awareness is the beginning of every transformation because you cannot fix what you cannot see. Most people live their entire lives on autopilot, repeating the same thoughts, the same reactions, the same beliefs, and the same limitations without ever questioning where they came from or whether they even belong to them. They move through life assuming their patterns are permanent, assuming their emotions are facts, and assuming their habits are simply who they are. But awareness interrupts that cycle. Awareness shines a bright, uncomfortable light on the truth you've been avoiding. That the mindset holding you back is not destiny, it's conditioning. And the moment you become aware of the real source of your limitations, you stop being controlled by them. Awareness forces you to confront the moments where you shrink instead of rise. It exposes the situations where fear controls your decisions. It highlights the excuses you've been hiding behind. It reveals the stories you repeat to justify why you haven't pushed harder, why you haven't evolved, why you haven't stepped into the life you know you're capable of living. Most people think they lack motivation or discipline, but the real issue is that they lack awareness of the internal dialogue that has been running their life in the background. Awareness helps you see the voice that tells you to wait, to play small, to stay comfortable, to stop trying, to protect your ego instead of pursuing your potential. When you finally observe that voice instead of obeying it, you gain power over it. Awareness is uncomfortable because it eliminates the illusion of helplessness. When you're unaware, it's easy to blame your circumstances, your past, your environment, or other people. But once you become aware, you can no longer hide behind those excuses. You start seeing that your mindset, not your situation, has been the barrier. You recognize that the patterns you thought were unchangeable were actually choices repeated so often that they became your identity. Awareness forces honesty, and honesty is the foundation of strength. Without the courage to see things as they are, you can never create something better. Awareness also gives you the ability to catch your thoughts before they become actions. You start to notice the exact moment your mind tries to pull you back into old behavior. You notice when you're choosing comfort over growth, when your insecurities start shaping your decisions, when procrastination disguises itself as "I'll do it tomorrow," and when fear whispers the same old lie, "You're not ready." With awareness, you can interrupt those patterns in real time. You can stop yourself and say, "This is the old me." And in that moment, you gain the freedom to choose a new response. Awareness is not dramatic or loud. It is subtle, quiet, and powerful. It doesn't arrive in a flash of insight. It builds over time as you consciously observe your thoughts, your reactions, your beliefs, and your triggers. It teaches you to pay attention to how you think, how you speak to yourself, how you respond under pressure, and how you behave when no one is watching. It reveals what strengthens you and what weakens you. It shows you who you've been and who you could become. Through awareness, you finally understand the truth. You don't need to fight your entire mindset all at once. You only need to notice it, because the moment you notice it, you are no longer controlled by it. Step 2, your identity shapes your destiny. Your identity is the invisible force directing every choice, every behavior, and every habit in your life. It is the internal blueprint that determines how you show up each day, what you believe you deserve, and what you believe you're capable of. Most people try to change their lives by changing their actions, but actions without identity shift are temporary. You can force yourself to work hard for a few days, push yourself for a week, or stay disciplined for a short season. But if your identity still tells you that you are someone who quits, someone who settles, someone who isn't enough, then the mind will always pull you back to match that internal picture. Identity is stronger than willpower. You will never outperform the way you see yourself. The moment you understand this, everything about your growth changes. Identity is shaped through repetition, environment, and the meaning you attach to your experiences. If you have spent years telling yourself that you are unlucky, unworthy, undisciplined, or incapable, your mind begins treating those statements like facts. Eventually, you no longer question them. They become who you believe you are. And once something becomes part of your identity, your brain works tirelessly to maintain it. You develop habits that match it. You seek relationships that confirm it. You make choices that reinforce it. The mind hates internal conflict, so it will always pull your behavior back to what feels familiar, even if what's familiar is destroying your potential. This is why people stay stuck. They are trying to build a new life with an old identity. To shape a destiny that reflects your true potential, you must first rebuild the identity that has been limiting you. This requires brutal honesty. You must become aware of the story you have been telling yourself, where it came from, why you believed it, and how it has shaped your choices. You must examine the labels you've accepted, not because they were true, but because they were repeated. You must separate who you were taught to be from who you are capable of becoming. Identity is not fixed, it is constructed. And the moment you take ownership of that, you take ownership of your future. You stop allowing your past to define your possibilities and start building a new internal blueprint that aligns with the life you want. Shifting your identity is not about pretending or faking confidence. It is about consistently choosing actions that embody the person you want to be until those actions feel natural. Confidence is built through congruence. When your behavior matches your ideal identity. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are reinforcing the identity of someone strong. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you reinforce the identity of someone reliable. Every time you challenge your excuses, you reinforce the identity of someone who refuses to settle. Identity is built through evidence, and every small victory becomes proof of who you truly are becoming. Your destiny is not shaped by luck or by circumstance or by other people. It is shaped by the internal standards you hold for yourself. When you raise those standards, your identity expands. And when your identity expands, the future you once thought was impossible becomes the only future you are willing to accept. Step 3. Embrace discomfort as your training ground. Discomfort is the gateway to every level of strength, growth, and transformation you want in your life. Yet most people run from it as if it's the enemy. They avoid difficult conversations, challenging goals, new environments, unfamiliar skills, and anything that pushes them beyond what feels safe. But what they don't realize is that every time they choose comfort, they strengthen the very mindset that keeps them weak. Discomfort isn't a punishment, it's a training ground. It's the place where your limits get tested, where your resilience gets built, and where your true potential starts to awaken. When you begin to see discomfort not as something to escape, but as the place where you sharpen your identity, everything in your life shifts. You stop trying to avoid stress, fear, pressure, and challenge, and instead you learn to use them as fuel. Discomfort is the gym for your mind. Just like muscles don't grow without resistance, your mindset doesn't grow without challenge. When you push yourself physically, the pain you feel isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're stretching what you're capable of. The same is true mentally. The anxiety you feel before making a bold choice, the fear you feel before taking a risk, the pressure you feel when stepping into something bigger. These are signs that your boundaries are expanding. But if every time you feel discomfort you retreat back to the familiar, you kill your momentum before it even has a chance to build. Most people stay stuck not because they're incapable, but because they've trained themselves to avoid anything that demands more of them. When you choose discomfort on purpose, you build a mindset that becomes nearly impossible to break. You start proving to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. You build discipline because you're no longer driven by how you feel, but by what you're committed to becoming. You build courage because you stop letting fear control your choices. You build confidence because you face situations that once intimidated you. And you build character because discomfort strips away everything that's fake and reveals who you really are. Growth doesn't happen when life is easy. It happens when you willingly put yourself in situations that force you to grow. Embracing discomfort also teaches you how to thrive under pressure. When you get used to stepping outside your comfort zone, adversity stops feeling like a threat. It becomes familiar. You start responding differently. Challenges stop overwhelming you because you've been training for them. Obstacles stop discouraging you because you've conditioned your mind to keep going even when things get tough. You become the kind of person who doesn't collapse when life hits hard, but stands taller because you've already walked through fire. This is the advantage people miss when they avoid discomfort. It prepares you for a future where nothing can easily break you. You don't need a perfect plan to transform your life. You need the willingness to do the things that make you uncomfortable. Wake up earlier than you want to. Work harder than you think you can. Take the opportunities you feel unprepared for. Say yes to challenges instead of running from them. Make moves before you feel ready. Discomfort is the classroom where discipline is learned, confidence is built, and strength is forged. The more you lean into it, the more you grow into the person you've always known you could be. Step 4. Rewrite the story. You tell yourself, discomfort is not your enemy. It is the doorway to every version of yourself you have ever wanted to become. Most people spend their lives running from anything that feels difficult, uncertain, or unfamiliar, believing that comfort equals safety and discomfort equals danger. But in reality, comfort is the silent trap that keeps you repeating the same routines, the same thoughts, and the same limitations. Growth never happens in the comfortable zone because comfort demands nothing from you. It keeps you soft, stagnant, predictable, and small. Discomfort, on the other hand, stretches your mind, strengthens your spirit, and forces you to adapt into someone more capable than you were yesterday. When you embrace discomfort instead of avoiding it, you unlock the power to reshape your character, your habits, and your entire identity. Every meaningful transformation requires stepping into moments that challenge you. When you intentionally choose discomfort, whether it's waking up earlier, facing a fear, confronting a weakness, or doing something you've been avoiding, you begin retraining your brain to operate differently. Those moments become the training ground where discipline is built, resilience is forged, and strength is developed. Discomfort is the gym where mental toughness is exercised, and just like training muscles, the more pressure you apply in the right direction, the stronger you become. If you stay in the same emotional environment, the same behavioral patterns, and the same safe routines, your life becomes predictable. But when you choose to walk toward discomfort, you discover new layers of capability you never knew you had. The reason discomfort transforms you is because it forces you to meet the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. It exposes your excuses, your fears, your insecurities, and the limits you've accepted for far too long. When you sit in discomfort, you begin to see that most of the barriers you thought were external were actually mental walls you put up to protect yourself from effort or vulnerability. Discomfort breaks those walls. It pushes you beyond your past identity and into a version of yourself that is more disciplined, more confident, and more courageous. Discomfort teaches you what you're made of, not by giving you the answers, but by challenging you to become the person who can handle the answers. Embracing discomfort doesn't mean seeking pain. It means choosing growth over ease. It means saying yes to opportunities that force you to elevate. It means staying committed when your emotions say quit. It means doing the work even when it's inconvenient. It means recognizing that discomfort is the currency you pay for greatness, and most people aren't willing to invest, but you are. By making discomfort a daily part of your life, pushing your body, expanding your mind, challenging your beliefs, you build a mindset that doesn't break at the first sign of struggle. You become the kind of person who moves with purpose instead of fear, who acts with discipline instead of hesitation, and who grows stronger with each challenge you face. Step 5. Take immediate, massive action. Discomfort is the arena where your true strength is built because nothing powerful, disciplined, or extraordinary ever comes from staying where it's easy. Most people avoid discomfort because they mistake it for danger, when in reality, discomfort is simply the signal that you are stepping into a new level of growth. If you look back at any breakthrough in your life, you will notice that it came after a period of struggle, uncertainty, or pressure. Discomfort is the price of evolution, and those who learn to lean into it instead of running from it rise faster, grow stronger, and achieve what others only dream about. Discomfort reveals your limitations, but it also reveals your potential. It stretches your capacity, exposes your weaknesses, and forces you to confront the parts of yourself that you prefer to ignore. When you start choosing discomfort deliberately, you stop waiting for growth and start creating it. People who chase comfort become fragile, easily shaken by challenges, quickly overwhelmed by setbacks, and dependent on circumstances to feel okay. But people who embrace discomfort become resilient. They build mental muscles that cannot be developed in comfort. They learn discipline, emotional control, and the ability to act even when they don't feel ready. Discomfort becomes their teacher, not their enemy. They understand that every moment of struggle is preparing them for something greater, sharpening their character, strengthening their mindset, and forging a version of themselves capable of handling bigger challenges and bigger victories. Discomfort transforms your inner state long before it transforms your external results. It teaches you that you are stronger than your excuses, tougher than your fears, and more capable than you ever believed. Discomfort also forces you to operate outside your familiar patterns. Growth cannot happen inside old routines, old habits, and old ways of thinking. When you expose yourself to discomfort, whether through physical challenges, difficult conversations, disciplined routines, or pushing past your emotional limits, you disrupt the patterns that kept you stuck. You create new neural pathways, new levels of endurance, and new beliefs about what you can handle. You begin to trust yourself more deeply because you've proven that you can do hard things. You start acting with conviction because you've experienced firsthand that discomfort doesn't break you, it shapes you. The people you admire, the ones who seem unstoppable, brave, or extraordinary, did not become that way by avoiding difficulty. They were shaped by the battles they chose to fight, the challenges they willingly faced, and the discomfort they embraced along the way. They trained their mind to interpret discomfort as a sign of growth, not a threat. When you adopt that mindset, discomfort becomes a tool rather than a barrier. It becomes the gym where your mind gets stronger and the classroom where your character is built. Every time you choose the harder path, you take one more step away from the weaker version of yourself and one step closer to the person you were meant to become. Step 6. Discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the teacher, the mentor, the sculptor of strength. Every person who has ever achieved greatness understood one truth. Comfort keeps you average, but discomfort forges you into someone powerful. The mind becomes weak when it is protected, sheltered, and allowed to stay in the same routines without resistance. Discomfort exposes the gaps in your character. It shows you where you hesitate, where you fear, where you quit, where you back down, and where your mental limits truly lie. Most people run from discomfort their entire lives, not realizing they are running from their own evolution. They avoid challenges, hard conversations, disciplined routines, and unfamiliar territory because discomfort threatens the identity they've built. Yet the only way to grow is to willingly walk into the places your old self would refuse to go. When you embrace discomfort, you turn every struggle into a training session for your mind. You start viewing challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to strengthen the parts of yourself that have been dormant for years. Waking up earlier than your desires, working harder than your excuses, choosing discipline over indulgence, and pushing through resistance even when your mind screams stop becomes the foundation of a new identity. You train yourself to function under pressure, to make decisions even when uncertain, to show up even when tired, and to commit even when comfort tempts you to take the easy path. Discomfort becomes the gym for your mindset. Every time you endure it, you add another layer of mental muscle. Discomfort also reveals your relationship with fear. Most fears grow stronger in comfort but shrink under challenge. When you repeatedly expose yourself to difficult experiences, whether physical, emotional, or mental, you begin rewiring your brain to see discomfort not as danger, but as growth. You learn that fear doesn't mean stop. It means pay attention and move forward anyway. With enough exposure, the situations that once intimidated you become normal, manageable, even routine. This is how discomfort transforms you. What was once overwhelming becomes your new baseline, and your capacity expands without you even realizing it. The truth is, every person dreams of a stronger life, but few are willing to pay the price of discomfort. Growth demands sacrifice. It demands early mornings, long nights, failure, repetition, and uncertainty. It demands that you confront your weaknesses head-on rather than hide from them. When you stop negotiating with your feelings and start acting based on your standards, you break free from the identity that comfort built for you. Discomfort refines your character. It builds resilience. It shapes discipline. It creates confidence because you learn to trust yourself under pressure. And slowly, day by day, discomfort stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like purpose because you finally understand that every moment of struggle is constructing a stronger, more capable, more unstoppable version of you. Remember, your mindset shapes your life. The weak version of you stops here and now. Take control, embrace the struggle, and commit to the person you are becoming. Your future is forged by the choices you make today, so step forward with courage and unstoppable determination.